being budget into the election year, no, a lot of, especially the minority side, you can tell that. I was the opposition for 8 years. So we really want to also come to power and work.
Of course.
And it's normal.
Of course.
Within the minority side, they're more louder than the majority side.
Than the majority. But that's now the budget has been presented. What does he think? Honorable Akwabe, you could see saying Sunni.
Nah,
me just bibi aboko.
Oh, kaka.
Ena de matonyo mo chamber ho pa.
That is the parliament. Most parliaments sometimes get a bit rowdy, but eventually you then taper back and stay cool. It's part of it. Being budget into the election year, no. A lot of, especially the minority side, you can tell that. I was the opposition for 8 years. So we really want to also come to power and work.
Of course.
And it's normal.
Of course.
Within the minority side, they're more louder than the majority side.
The majority. But that's true.
Minister Bekasakura, the traditional welcome a year majority for the man, they were so quiet. And I was very surprised.
Wow. But and riding come, I mean, what do expectations set to ja? And finally, the cat is out of the bag. Minister no the statement no abba. Any standout Nyoma in this budget for you, Yediahin? Nyoma, a copy at you directly.
Yes, first of all, your revenue target was missed. I think total revenue and grant so far, 79 billion as against 82 billion. That was mixed in terms of the target. Moreover, expenditure and also what is kakra. Normally these are the first two you want to look at. Then you look at projections going forward. Overall GDP, he anticipates 2024 about 2.8%.
2.8%, yes.
Yeah, that's a very, very low figure. And worst of all, you're non-oil GDP. Oil GDP can be very deceptive. Normally, you don't allow the oil GDP alone to influence you. Non-oil GDP, no. On a real agri sector, the real economy. Oil the upstream, a lot of the revenue is growing, and and no, 2.1%. That's quite worrying. Any year inflation, he is looking at 15%. Admittedly, no, these are just projections.
Yes.
Even with the projections, no, it looks like we are not out yet. Because when you are growing at just 2%, until America said, when you are growing at 2%, which is the real growth, that your economy is growing so high in terms of the nominal, then it's inflation that's pushing it. Because normally, no, the issue expenditure approach, which is to say you're looking at the final price of goods and services in terms of consumption, government expenditure, investment, and the difference between your import and your exports. Normally, it's our 4-way and I determine, the government expenditure, yes, it would push the size of the economy, but normally you want to see consumption and investments pushing and driving the growth. Because that then means the growth is inclusive and is going to the real sector of the economy. And now I'm confirming some of these tax measures are first of all, I spare parts for now. They should prepare for higher and difficult times. Because
under tax, I see tax, also page 17 and page 18. I see tax reliefs. And he makes the point, sir, Mr. Speaker, our approach to tax policy since 2017 was to give significant relief to the private sector until expenditure pressures from 2020 required a more aggressive approach.
He's pursuing a more aggressive approach.
Yeah, post 2020. It is important to note that in the short term, fiscal sustainability requires that we improve our tax ratios significantly. Otherwise, our long-term competitiveness will be eroded. As we all know, our country's 13% tax to GDP ratio is far below our peers. Our target is 18 to 20 and we are on course. But Osaika said, the following reliefs have been prioritized for implementation. extend 0 rate of VAT on locally manufactured African print for 2 more years.
What is that?
Oh,
local fire and die and all kind of that is what. And how does it? So how many people they affect you? As against 11 billion tax. 2. What does that call waivers? 2 year waive import duties.
2 year waive import duties on import of electric vehicles for public transportation for a period of 8 years.
No, electric vehicles are in Ghana. I thought the policy member say yeah charging points. Because one of the main challenges for electric vehicles are whatever you're charging. Charging. Maybe you identify some 4 or 5 filling stations there. We are converting them from the sale of fuel into charging points.
But won't it be a decision the private sector makes? Into, for example, honorable,
say that incentive.
Yeah, but say Abaya wavy import duties on such cars. Now say amount for the babibria. The private sector naturally will see opportunities in there. So okay, then maybe we need charging point, and people would invest in those. And
yeah, but I'm saying that as we speak, recently, the hybrid car buy, they charge me extra 50,000. When I asked the commissioner, was it because it's a hybrid vehicle? If you come with the normal polluting vehicle nearby, the first thing you ought to be doing now are the hybrid vehicles. Because hybrid vehicles, are virtually both electric and fuel.
Yes.
And listen, I say about me. In the night of say, the main focus in terms of how you want to support people. Extend 0 rate on VAT for vehicles, assembled vehicles,
locally assembled vehicles for 2 more years. And almost say waive import duties on semi-knocked down and completely knocked down electric vehicles imported by registered EV assembly companies in Ghana for a period of 8 years. 0 rate VAT on locally produced sanitary parts. Grant import duty waivers for raw materials for the local manufacture of sanitary parts. Grant exemptions on the importation of agric machinery, equipment and input and medical consumables, raw materials for the pharmaceutical industry. A VAT flat rate of 5% to replace the 15% standard VAT rate on all commercial properties will be introduced to simplify administration.
VAT in Osadiaban. Anytime they talk of a flat rate, it means that you can no longer enjoy input-output VAT. The standard rate is input-output. Flat rate means that you can't enjoy input-output. So it becomes a cost to you. The standard rate is not a direct cost to you because you can transfer it. But more importantly, what is the benefit in terms of value? What you tell us? Say, you expect, say, this would have been the amount and buying the Magana for. On the contrary, he wants to move the tax base from 13 to 16 as a percentage of GDP. And so he's taxing us new tax of about 11 billion. We need to share the say, look, maybe the show, Namakasa relief. Grant duty on manufacturing of sanitary locally, importation, locally produced sanitary parts.
Sure.
If I mean, please, look, let's get serious. Things are going to get tough. That's the truth. Who shall we now get taxes our neighbor? Now here, Nema or person what tax here. The truth is that things are going to get tough. That's a fact, and nobody can run away from the fact that businesses are going to bear the brunt of it. Ordinary consumers are going to bear the brunt of it. Media, honestly, may share budget here already. I really don't find anything. It's just about just trying to tighten the system and meet IMF conditionalities, and that's a basic fact. I don't really see a Nema Fufobie. So what Nema Fufobie woman who share a big change, a game changer, a bit change the system or the catch them and I discuss it. Listening to the whole budget. If there's anything really new about it, tell me. Say you start, you say, up to now, what if no more training crop for, I feel no more, you say. Meanwhile, no, I can say you announced it in 2022. So clearly, look, this man has lost it. You could even tell. So the minority side, it didn't look excited.
The majority side, you mean? The majority side. Yeah.
It didn't look excited at all. Unlike previous years, I know more budget so or kasa no money na. But we know what he has actually given is just a budget statement.
Sure.
A year 49 pages.
49 pages.
Yeah, there are no appendixes.
Yes.
Statement, their statement. Normally, some of us need the real figures to do their computations and drill down to do the analysis.
Yes.
The way they know your statement out there, but taxes, yeah, okay. Let them bring the real bill.
Because now me share statement to see if I would get a sense of the actual tax handles, the new ones now you spoke about, no, but they don't seem to be here. I don't know, say when would the actual new tax handles from some whatever.
It's deliberate. Okay. All he deliberately says, so they will amend this. They will introduce pollution levy, enhance those levies. No?
Okay.
But or the bill labor, then you see what is the rate.
Yes.
Who will be affected? Who is exempted? But this time, no. Minority leader we should be very detailed because flat bat rate he buy, you know. Okache say he's just putting it as a standalone. Our understanding at committee is a get fund separate, NHI separate, no VAT separate. A by implementation, no. Or you say get fund.
Okay.
We are no NHI. We are not the meaning now boom. And some of the 15% VAT na a day, abetoso. So you then realize that you are paying a higher tax and paying VAT on NHIL and paying VAT on Get Fund. These are things that this time I think that the minority side we should tighten those areas and make it explicitly clear that this is the situation and you cannot go and manipulate it. Even though some of us say we disagree, especially with the tax. And so normally you vote on the principle. If you win the principle, if you don't win the principle, then the next thing is to take the next stage, which is to say that you want to then tighten the law properly and deal with it. Even though your first objective would be to say, no, taxes you also do. We are Mudiba idea, but he deliberately decided, say in his statement, he won't give the details, except to say they will be coming to Parliament to seek approval, to enhance revenue, and all those things. But clearly, when he comes to Parliament with the bills, we would see the details.
Then we'll see the details, and then maybe we can have the conversation on the new tax handles.
Absolutely.
Honorable, we are still digging into BBN. Was a sign bar who be especially under energy, under mines. Any idea who do that? Why?